Okay, so we're really excited to have our keynote speaker here today, Max Miro. So Max is an entrepreneur. He is an expert in rapid prototyping, who's lectured at universities around the world, including Harvard and Yale. Those aren't good universities, are they? He specializes in getting startup ideas up and running as quickly and cheaply as possible, all without learning programming or code. So you've hopefully heard a little bit about that today. The world is really changing. You think about new technologies and innovation, it's democratized. I think Mila said it on stage, right? Things are getting easier to do to the point that almost anybody can create apps without learning how to code. So Max creates online content under the brand Make with Max, and you can learn more about him on our social media highlights, and you can certainly view his channel. So with that, I'm going to invite up Max Miro. Max.
My name's Max. I make a lot of content on the internet, and I build a lot of little tiny ideas. My whole shtick is no code. You've been hearing a lot of this stuff around no code. I'm going to give you a really brief overview of what no code is, how I use it, what I do with it, what we're going to be doing with it today. And then we're just going to build something. I used to do these live streams, and this is kind of calling back to what I used to do on live streams. I used to block out like 2 hours. We're going to do really quick today. We come up with an idea. I'm hopefully going to ask people from the crowd to help me source an idea, come up with something fun. Maybe it's just like a fun little startup idea, maybe it's a website idea, whatever it is. And then I'm just going to spend the next 45 minutes or so like building it on the screen. You're going to see everything that I'm doing. I'm going to talk through the tools that I'm using, why I'm using those tools, and then at the end, if we have enough time, we should have enough time, I'm going to go over how I would market that, how like the website, the app, the idea that we built, how I would get that into the world and test it with customers and see if people are actually going to use this thing. So the idea is we build a tiny startup here right now and answer questions and figure things out as we go along. That's the loose idea. No code wise, those are the tools that I'm going to be using. You've heard about it before. I'm going to start from like really ground zero. No code is basically just like, think of, like honestly, like Excel could be kind of considered a no code tool. But if you've ever heard of WordPress, that's usually where I start. WordPress, Wix, Squarespace, those are all the big website builders you probably get. I don't know, maybe it's because I spend a ton of time Googling no code stuff, but I get like so many YouTube ads from all of those companies. They advertise pretty heavily. If you think about one of those, they're a no-code website builder. Previously, 10, 20 years ago, you needed to know HTML, CSS, JavaScript, all these programming languages to build a really, really solid website and get your idea out in the world and get people using that and signing up on a form or whatever, buying a shirt from your e-commerce store. That required an enormous amount of prior knowledge to do anything on the internet. And now, with like Squarespace, whatever, WordPress, whatever, any of those no-code tools, you can just build something. Actually, later, after this session, I'm going to be futzing. We're going to do a very experimental workshop on mobile development. Not mobile app development, but building a little startup idea on your phone. So I'm actually just going to hook up my phone, do a little Zoom, and share my phone screen. And I'm going to show you how I would prototype something if I was like on a long train ride, which I've totally done before. I have an idea. I just get it out there, build a website really quick, and start pitching it on the internet. You really need a laptop to do a lot of that stuff. So that's what we'll be doing later. But no-code tools are like Squarespace, Wix, WordPress. They just allow you to build things, apps, automations, artificial intelligence, websites, things like that. Tech that previously required an enormous amount of prior knowledge. Now you don't have to know any of that. You just have to learn a very simple little platform online tool. So that's no code. I'm used to working in circumstances where I can get a lot of questions. If you do have questions, just raise your hand. I feel like this is a quiet enough room that I can hear you if everybody hushes. So if you do have questions at any point throughout this, please raise your hand and ask them. So that's what I'm used to. I'm used to people asking questions. If you have any, please ask them. But other than that, let's just get started. Here's a bunch of little projects. Something fun I want to show you. This is a little idea. This took me like 2 days. And by 2 days, I mean it was over the span of 2 days. It was probably like 2 hours of actual work. One of my little bits for TikTok that I built using no code is if you Google, there's handsome man in Chicago. There's a new graphic. Come on, do it on Google, please. I live in Chicago, by the way. My website that pops up. Hell yeah, my chance to manage Chicago. Nice. It's a total bit. This took me, and obviously you can tell, I put very little effort into this website as well. You can build way more beautiful things like than this. This took me like no time at all. I bought a domain. I have a subscription to this little website service, and now it's at the top. We Google that little specific thing. Obviously, that's not productive. That's not a startup idea. It's just a fun little example of some of the stuff that I do when I'm bored. Cool, neat. Here are a bunch of other little projects that I've made that I list and have talked about online. Anyway, that's enough about me. That's enough about no code. We're going to try to build a little startup idea. If people have an idea that they have thought about, and this could be something that you're actively working on, I can show you how I would prototype it. I know a lot of students are very sensitive about like the ideas that they're working with. I don't want you to, you don't have to use like something that you're trying to build yourself. You can just be like, this is a fun little thing that I thought about. And if nobody has any ideas, I have a giant list of things that I've been thinking about for like the past 2 years. It's like, I'm sure we all have giant lists of like random startup ideas. But I have my own. We can totally pull from that. People don't have ideas. Does anybody have anything? No pressure. Any fun thing? Okay, what you got? Amazon Price Tracker. Okay, cool. And so what would that do? Like, is that just like a dashboard for price tracking specific products, or?
Yeah, I'm thinking to track sites a bit, but then have that in background for the user to be recommended the same or similar products or lower price while they're already shopping.
Interesting. Okay, so like a Chrome extension, when they're on Amazon, it would recommend specific things. So like honey, if you ever use honey, something similar to that. Okay, that could be cool. I like that a lot. Let me actually start with a note. Notepad. We'll start writing down some ideas. This was a email draft that I was writing. I like that. Amazon. Woo. Yes?
I had an idea about maybe finding an app or creating an app that would find the best price for coupons that are available. So instead of, coupons are available everywhere, but instead of having like coupons in the mail or find the coupons online, why can't we have an app that just you want the coupon and then you get the coupon?
I like that a lot. Okay, that's also pretty similar to mine. I dig that. Sweet. Let's see. That could be like a coupon database tool, automatic, something like that. Just automatically uploads coupon codes. I dig it. Thank you very much. Any other ideas? Any other fun things people are thinking about? No? Yes?
What about a music service for independent musicians? That would be kind of like I know we already have SoundCloud and all that, where you could upload one song, have it listed by genre, and then you can create a list from that. I don't know if there's anything like that already.
Yeah, so it auto recommends music based on something you plug in into the
Right,
songs.
on albums, like actually singles.
Okay. Yeah. Auto and okay. Sweet. Yeah. Check.
We got next. I want to find out where people are playing basketball in courts, outside public courts, where there's a critical mass of people, so that I go and I can play a full game of basketball.
I do that a lot. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Find local basketball games. That's super sweet. I think actually, yeah, the first pitch. I wasn't here for all the pitches, but the first student pitch was kind of similar. There was something in that kind of realm. There's a super dig. That's a super fun idea. Yeah. What you got?
Something like along the lines of sports, but in football, whenever I'm trying to like watch a football game, it's so hard to find where it's actually streaming. It's on CBS, it's on ESPN, so a place that kind of shows you what all the games are, like where they're actually streaming.
Oh, I like that. That's fun. I dig that a lot. Okay, cool. Football game, streaming locator. Okay, sweet. I don't know what this is. Yeah, in the back.
Like local, like friends of small where that's super local area, kind of like try to
Okay, interesting. So would that be like stores? Would that be like from other people?
like,
Would
it
it-
could be like used items or different stores, it's like anywhere you can find like last minute
Ooh, okay, yeah, I like that. I like that. That's like a nice, it's It's a nice little tagline, last minute form. Okay, sweet. Yeah.
One of the biggest fights in my house is what are we going to eat for dinner? And I think that happens in a lot of households. I like to have an app that can help us figure out what we're going to have for dinner, or a restaurant that, could offer a service for us for dinner.
I dig that a lot. That's really fun. Yeah. So maybe we could take you through a series of questions and based on sweet or savory, like things like that. It asks and kind of narrows down what your possible options would be. I've thought about building something like that. There was a big trend for a while. I'm so bad at following trends on the internet, but there was a big trend for a while of like this TikTok filter, where because there was a huge bit among boyfriends that like, oh, my girlfriend can't decide what to eat. And that was a big joke for a while. And so somebody built a filter where you could like your girlfriend could take it and she could nod in different ways to basically do that same thing, like narrow down a specific type of food. I thought that was kind of funny. So I've been thinking about building something like that for a slightly different purpose for a little while, because I thought it would go along with the trend. That's fun. I did it a lot. Okay, cool. We have a good set of ideas. If everybody is really dying to get one out there, raise your hand. But yeah.
A digital art collective where people can post for, if you need someone for the specific medium, you can just make like a Craigslist ad, and then people can respond if they are an artist who does patchwork, and you need a patchwork artist, they can respond to it with their skills and maybe even have profiles set up.
I think that a lot. That's super sick. I'm actually doing a current project right now. My current thing that I'm obsessed with is I'm building a little blog, a little interview series. It's very low key, very, very small, but it's specifically for Chicago artists. And so I'm super into the whole artist space. I'm definitely biased towards anything in the art kind of realm. But I think that's a really cool idea. Heck yeah. Most of these would be super easy to build. We can obviously only pick one. The most important thing that I want to mention here, I'm going to be doing this workshop and then the workshop after this during the lunch period. I will be around all day though. Those are my two main things, but I will be walking around all day. I'll be wearing a big, bright black dog on the pink, fluffy sweatshirt. So if you find me and you see me, I will be hanging. Hit me up. If you have any questions on something specific you want to build, I can recommend tools for you. I can get you started with the right websites. A lot of the stuff that I'm going to recommend, I'm going to try to do everything that we do here for free as well with your students. I don't want you to spend money on the products that you're building, and especially when you're in a really early stage. You should not be building products and spending a ton of money on them. Just be very iterative, very testy, very just throw stuff on the wall and see what sticks. So please, hit me up. If you're here at any other point during the day, I would love to help you. We'd love to have a conversation. I would love to get you started building something really, really cool. Neat. Okay, cool. Let's just start with one of these. The music service for independent musicians sounds really dope. Auto-recommending music is going to be involving some level of artificial intelligence probably, and it's going to have to read audio files, and that's going to be a little complex. I super dig the idea. It probably is going to take me a bit more than 45 minutes though, so I'm probably going to unfortunately veto that, but thank you. I super like it a lot. I'm just going to delete that, but thank you very much for the submission. Coupon database tool and Amazon Price Check and Chrome extension. Chrome extensions are absolutely buildable with no code. It's a little bit on the harder to find end. You have to search for some very specific tools just because it's a really niche format to deliver your product in. But it is possible. I just don't have a ton of experience with building Chrome extensions, and generally the tools that do build Chrome extensions are going to take a little bit more time. So I like both of these a lot. I'm probably going to veto those as well though, because I want to do something that we can really have a finished product on, ideally. Pretty much all these other ones though are doable in my mind. Let's do a raise of hands to see if we can vote it down to something that most people are excited about. Raise of hands for finding local basketball games. Who's ahead? Yes, no? Okay. Got a couple. Got a few. A football game and streaming the locator. So if you people are voting for the ideas. Alright, cool. Got a few people. Last minute formal wear locator. Ooh. Y'all are to do it. Okay. You that's probably the winner so far. And then a digital art collective, so finding the specific art. Also a solid number of people. Okay, I think the winner is, it looked like the what to eat for dinner app. Cool. Alright, dope. So this is a pretty simple build. Essentially, all you need to do is ask your consumer a few questions and then narrow it down from there. And like, I think the thing that's going to take the most time would be trying to figure out exactly what those questions are and how exactly you can. I'm sure there's research articles on something like this that we get into some really solid material on like how do you identify that? How do you best narrow down something? Because there's so many different food options out there. So that will be the main question. I can't imagine we're going to be able to find like the perfect set of questions here and now. We can absolutely prototype this. It can be up, it's functioning, you can go to it. Like we're definitely going to be able to build a prototype, no problem. So, let's get started. I'm envisioning this. I don't know what you're thinking, sir, pitch the idea. I'm kind of thinking of this as just like a website you go to. It's like whatfoodtoeat.com or something like that, right? And let's go to my little website builder. So let's throw up a little landing page real quick before we add the functionality. This is Card, by the way. I'm going to go over each tool that I use. This is Card. I adore Card. It's like my favorite notebook tool out there. It's probably one of the simplest. It is just a really, really basic, really, really simple, and insanely cheap website builder. Card.go, I did it. It's like one guy who built the company, and I like love him. I messaged him like a bunch of times on Twitter, like, please sponsor my TikToks, because I mention him in like every TikTok I make. But I mean, it's a small thing. I totally get why not. Anyway, Card.go. It's just really, really cheap. That's usually why I recommend it to people that are starting out. I'm going to choose this. These are templates. It starts from, I like working with templates. I know some people that don't like using website templates to start. I also totally get that. You can build from scratch on a card. But I'm just going to start with this little template. Boom. I'll say, find what your family wants to eat. Decide, eat now. Decide what to eat. Let's see. Take our click below to take our specialized quiz and specialized click below to your specialized quiz and get food on the table. Everyone will be happy about. Something like that. I'm not amazing at writing copy, but this is what we're starting with. So I'm just going to keep this really simple. Let's find a little background image for our container, just to make it look nice and cute. I'm just going to pull a picture up Google of food. Please. Food on table. Ready. Let's do something. This is not cool. This is not what dinner at my home looks like. Let's do it. This is also not what dinner at my home looks like. This is slightly more doable. Let's say fingers. By the way, generally, this is a VIF file. I don't know what that means, so thank you, sir. Give me something cute. I mean, all these food pictures are so overboard. Nobody does dinner like this. Maybe some people do. Let's pop that in the background container. Go here. I believe it's English. Food. Yay. Pretty. How's it look? It's not too bad, actually. Okay, I dig it. Decide what to eat now. Cool. We can do icons. We have all these little icons at the bottom of the screen, usually, like, it's just, I think this is meant to be like a little portfolio page, like, my name is Max, I do blah, blah, blah. And links to all my socials. I'm gonna do that. So I'm just gonna delete that one. I got this cute little design background going on. This looks pretty fun. I don't know what I would put the text down here. Actually, I can say like, let's say, quiz takes about 5 minutes. Done. Okay, cool. Now we have a little landing page. So let's publish that just really quickly. And we'll call this name for our little food decider app. What should we name it? Maybe a fun name. What's for dinner? Yeah, that's I think it's nice and in your face. What's to eat now? And then one really cool thing about Card, it lets me publish to .card.co domains, which means it's like you might say, what's for dinner? So what's for dinner? Let's see if that's available. Heck, it's not. You say, what is for dinner? Hey, it's available. It lets me publish to a .card.co domain without like buying my own. So like it would be what is for dinner .card.co. I like that a little bit. Like if you do like Wix or anything, it's gonna be like this like infinitely long little URL you can send to people, and it just looks unprofessional. I like that even on the free plan you can use .card.co domains. So our website is up, by the way. Like what is for dinner.card.co. You can go to the website. The button doesn't do anything yet. We're going to program the button next. We're going to add some like tech functionality there. But this is a website. I have it up. It's a thing. Like, I can send this to people and see what they think, even if they before clicking on the button. Sweet. That took me. It was free. That took me like 5-10 minutes. So now we need. Actually, one other quick little thing that I want to mention. I like the .card.co domain names, because there's kind of some domain authority there already now, at least among like the younger generation, because a while back, not very long back, but like for the past like, I want to say like a few years, I've seen a lot of little social justice missions use Card.co websites that people would share in their link in bio on Instagram and things like that. Like there's Black Lives Matter on Card.co. I think there's a couple for humanitarian crises around the world right now. Like, and they all used, it was like Black Lives Matter.card.co, like they left the .card.co in there. And so like as a little website resource or a type of website, like it's not as established as .com, but for free, like some people at least are going to recognize .card.co. It's short, it's simple, it's right to the point. So like even on the free plan, you get usable URLs. You don't have to go and buy a domain, which I also did. So cool, we have that. Let's program this button. I'm going to say, take quiz. Let's see if we can find an icon that was cute that is quiz-ish. Oh, question mark. You know what that is? Oh, here. Oh, was it up? Oops. I didn't even see it. Beautiful. I like it a lot. Take quiz. So that looks all good. Let's program the backend functionality. What I would probably do just for our first version, quick little prototype, and what we're probably going to do here, just because we're like the point is just to get something up and running, is a form. Yeah, it's just like a simple little form. Because you can make conditional little trees. They answer one question, and based on if they answered, let's say, savory or sweet, or if they want high spicy, low spicy, like that will send them to a series of new questions. And so we can kind of just segment out a little decision tree in a form tool to get them to a reasonable conclusion, which would be pretty dope. So I think that's what we're going to try to do. Form tool that I'm going to use for this, I think, is JotForm. I like JotForm. I did work with them for a while. They're a super cool company, and they're very supportive of open code space. But there's like literally 1,000 form tools that you can use for this, whatever works for you. Tool like with Google. Pardon me. Come on. So a form tool. If you've never used a form tool, I'm shocked, first of all. But second of all, it's just like, we can design something really, really simple. Here's the form limit. Excuse me. Draft. Let's edit this form and just take this one over. Since this is probably going to be, how much time do I have? I started it. We're doing fine. We're cruising. This was a little form. Ooh, this is on my website. Nobody's using my website right now. Let's say, design was for this section, and I'll put these bad boys. These bad boys to the field. Very cool. Now, I'm going to give the rough overview. Let's say I'm going to start with a multiple choice question. Let's do. Yeah, let's just do multiple choice. I'm going to drag this into here. What will be the term? Do you want? We'll start with like the savory or sweet, or give like a rough couple of options. What flavor profile sounds the tastiest? We'll go with savory, sweet. We will say, there's some flavor profile. There's spicy. Spicy. Thank you all for helping me. Is there anything else, or should we just roll with those? Huh? Okay, cool, sweet. And then that's the first question. And now, let's take a couple more multiple choice questions. But based on those, actually, we want people to be answering one at a time, right? And if we want people to answer one at a time, show hide field. Okay, we can do show or hide fields. You can also skip specific pages. I think we would just show or hide fields so that we're all in one. Whatever. There's whatever enthusiast. Yes. And then another multiple choice question. Something really simple. This would be, let's say, for each of those four, let's design a quick question just to show how this would function. So, if it's savory, like, too much caffeine this morning, my mind is exploding. What type of savory food sounds good? Now, educate this. We want to do that. So do another multiple choice. What type of sweet food sounds the best? And this is obviously very rudimentary. You would layer this out a whole bunch more. What type of spicy food sounds the best? But with this, like a couple layers, that'll fully explain how you would do this. There's nothing left that you would need. There's no other tools you would need. There's nothing else. Yeah, what you got?
Is this something you could use AI to just generate the filter of questions, like where it would follow the line of reasoning?
There might be something out there like that. It's a good point. The little manual bit of labor that I'm doing right now would be a great place for AI to jump in. I don't know if there's any artificial intelligence form generator.
But even so, you could say, give me the question.
We could be asking ChatGPT for this, absolutely. I see what you're saying. Since this is just loose prototype, I just want to showcase the functionality. If you were actually doing this, I think that would be a great thing to add, which I'd try. But this is going to take 2 more seconds. But I like the personality that we're thinking the right way. Food sounds best. And then I'll layer in a couple of options. Toast. Rice. This is a funny bit. Alright, cool. With that, so spicy food. Thai. these live bits that I do where I'm just doing like a little bit of like manual futzing. It's not as entertaining. Cake. And then what kind of savory food? We'll say mushroom dish, something like salad, whatever. Maybe that's not savory means. Anyway, okay, cool. So now we have this. We have a very, very loose little thing, and then each of those questions would lead to different kinds of mushroom dishes, different kinds of salads, different kinds of whatever. But we could layer this out like a whole series more. We could make like 10 different layers in this decision tree. But you get the general point. And so I am going to, first of all, let's see if I can hide these. I think I can hide these questions by default. Options, surveying, questions, whatever. Conditions, set up conditional logic. This is going to be the important part. So if decide what's for dinner, what sounds the tastiest, is equal to savory. If they answer savory to the first question, we're going to show what type of savory food sounds the best, right? We're going to show them the next question in the line. They answered savory, so we're going to show them a bunch of savory options, right? And then I would go through and I would do this with every single other question. So is equal to, okay, if they answered sweet, then I'm going to show what type of sweet food sounds the best. And we would layer that out and we would go on. Now, all we basically do is we publish this, we copy the link, we go back to our little form, our little website builder, and in here, we're just going to publish, copy the URL, click enter, done, and I go back, and we republish this. Which is done. Now, with a little bit more work, I would actually go on and research like what's the best way to identify this. I would ask ChatGPT so you can structure out a really nice answer. Whatever we need to do to make that maybe a little bit more robust, but the website is fine. Like, I don't think we need anything additional. I click this button, and it leads me to that form, where I can start asking questions, I can start working through this form, I can figure out like what is a loose answer. And you can have a bunch of different versions of these for people that prefer different types of food. You can really like get into the weeds on this. And since there was an existing little like TikTok filter that I mentioned before, where you can knock different ways to learn things out, you could look at how it did that one. Like maybe it just asked right off, like here's a list of 10 foods, and we can even simplify this further. Super, super basic. But we have a thing. It kind of works. It's a loose idea. It's a rough prototype. I can just text this to people. I can send this to people. I can post this online. I can see if people give a heck about my idea. And it took me like half an hour. And I've been vibing the whole time. So, very rough. But you get the kind of point. That's pretty exciting, right? And I did all that for free. All this was on free plan. Like the form that I designed, the functionality that we use in the job form is on the free plan. The functionality that I used to publish this website is on the free plan. Like, you can just test your idea, which is pretty neat. Kind of cool. Very simple, but kind of cool. So, I do want to take a bit of time. I know I'm like pretty ahead of schedule, so if anybody has any questions or like wants to discuss maybe different specific routes, or like an app idea or anything like that, I'm totally happy to answer questions. Just raise your hand. But I want to talk a bit about what I would do to market this, because I was able to do all this for free. This is a very like, rough thing. I can send this to people and get feedback from my friends through sending texts, whatever. But the biggest part, for students that I know that use no code, the biggest part that they get hung up in isn't this. You can Google this, you can figure this out, and you can ask people like me to help you. You guys have awesome no code resources. You're like doing classes dedicated to no code. John's Build Measure Run course, like you have resources here to find the right tools. That's not where you guys are going to get hung up. Once you have something like this up and done, getting it out there is like crucially important. And it's way more effective than just like discussing your idea. When you're doing customer discovery, which is basically like asking potential users what they would do if they used your product or figuring out what problems that they're having. Like that's all really good and fine, and that's a crucial part of the entrepreneurial process, but like now I have something that I can test with. And so whether or not somebody goes to this website and uses it, I can, on the back end, I can track all the submissions on the little job form thing so I can see how many people are actually using my tool. doing that is by far the most important step. That's where I see a lot of students get just hung up. Like I get a lot of students to this point. They have something, it kind of works, it solves the problem, they need to start testing it. What I do is a little kitschy, and it's a little weird, and you gotta be careful with it, because it's on Reddit. And Reddit is a very harsh environment, to say the least. But there are some really sneaky ways that you can get an enormous amount of effective, brutal feedback on stuff that you build really, really fast. Let's see, posts. And this doesn't just work on Reddit, it works in a whole bunch of different environments. Let's see, good. So, this is a little weird. I'm doing a little bit of a research project with a friend of mine on bidets. Little toilet installations that you can just buy on Amazon to improve your bathroom. We have a theory of like a specific way we want to try to tackle that market, and we design our own specific bidet. Very, very niche, very weird, whatever. But we wanted to understand how men, because we were ideally going to be selling to men, how men think about stuff like bidets. Like why aren't they using one if they've heard of them? If they have heard of them, like, well, is price the barrier to entry? Like what is the reason that more, like I don't know any guy, none of my guy friends have bidets in their bathroom. Why? Why is that? So we want to do a little bit of a research project on this. So here's an example of getting early customer feedback. I made this one little post, so I got like 9 upvotes and asked them, but like 24,000 people saw it, and I got like 120 comments, and they were all like over the top. Here's why. Like everybody was really willing to share feedback on this very specific topic, and that's awesome. Like that's weird and odd, and like I got like 50% upvote rate. People were annoyed at me, but like I got an enormous amount of feedback for free in like a few hours, and that's like huge. So the marketing strategy that I use for little things like this, we have a website, we just need to get it out there, is you find communities of people that are in your theoretical target audience. And you're not going to know a lot. Like this was designed for your family. That's initially what you structured it for, right? So your audience could just be families. Like that's pretty broad, right? But if you can find something in that space that you can loosely identify who your ideal target customer is, indecisive families, indecisive couples, things like that, you can find communities on places like Reddit, on places like Facebook groups, on independent forums online, that communities that are built for those people. Like family problems, r/family problems, maybe something like that is a thing, or r/indecisive couples, like help us decide things, or like for polling purposes, a fun little place where you just like send in polls to have people decide for you. And I know some people will use it for food stuff like this. Go on all these community sources, find communities that ideally fit your vibes. Let's try to do that right now. Let's see if we can do stuff around family. r/family guy. I found the guy for the TV show online. So r/family, beautiful. A wonderful, okay, now everything is immediately very intense on this page. That's Reddit. You find those communities and you start posting them. I'm going to show you a couple of examples of things that I've done for little ideas that I've had in the past. Let me go back to my posts. Yes. I made, here it was. This was cool. So I made a little project a while back and I wanted to market it. It was called beautystandards.org. I wrote a textbook on beauty standards around the world and throughout history, and I thought it was just super, super interesting. It was just a personal little project of mine. No real commercialization option there. It was just fun information that I learned. But I was so interested in this topic that I was like, I want to build a product on this. And so I built an interactive map where you can just highlight over different things. And rural provinces are a bit like until recently. There's a whole bunch of different things have changed. Like it's the what we find attractive, what men find attractive, what women find attractive now has changed dramatically throughout history. It's a super interesting just sequence and how those beauty standards develop. I got really, really into it. But I designed this product. It took me a little while. I was having fun with it and sort by different time periods. I wanted to market this. I wanted to get this out. I don't like spending money on marketing. I don't usually recommend students to spend money on marketing, especially with the first version prototype is rough as something like this. I just made a website. I don't know if people care. And you can't really assume that people care and start spending like a couple hundred on Facebook ads. So, I went into Reddit. I posted in r/community. And there's two main strategies to do something like this. My strategy here works specifically well with this type of product, this type of website. This is an informational website. It's just teaching you about something. If you have an informational product or an online course or an e-textbook, something like that. If you have an informational product, this strategy can generally work. I gave away a lot of information. That's one thing that a lot of online communities really like. You cannot sell to these online communities. You can't go in and be like, hey, check out my website. You'll be banned from that community immediately. So many people try to sell to these communities. Because obviously, this is a group of people that are interested in beauty stuff. So if I have a beauty product, it would make sense that I would want to get in touch with everybody in this group. So these communities are hyper-vigilant against self-promotion. So giving away information, if you create an informational product, works really, really well. I cherry-picked a bunch of really interesting stuff that I thought was really eye-catching. It's like, here's the top 5 things that I learned from reading this beauty standards textbook throughout history. And I just posted it here. And then right at the end, I didn't add a link, I didn't add anything. I said, if you know any super interesting ones, I would love to hear them. I built an interactive map website for all the coolest things I learned. I'm sure there's a ton that I missed. Very humble, very whatever. Hey man, I just want advice. Add in, let's make this a fun discussion. Don't self-promote at all. But I loosely mentioned that there was something there. And then, sure enough, somebody down below asked, this is so interesting, can you link to the website? If your post does well, you're probably going to get somebody asking you something like that. If you're subtle enough about it, if you're very casual and very friendly, somebody will ask, and you get to promote that, right? And this has nothing but upvotes, plus 11 upvotes, right? People were like, cool, he linked the website because somebody asked. It's community now. I'm just supporting the community. People ask me questions, I'm answering back. I'm not self-promoting at all. But because that one little link exists there, I think I got 250 visits to my website in the next 48 hours, just off of this Reddit post. No self-promoting, right? And I honestly, that might not have been an honest question. I've had a lot of people in the past, I'll just text my friend, hey, can you comment on my Reddit post that you're interested in seeing the website? You can see that. You can totally figure people aren't joining and making it easy for you. But it still looks like community. It still looks like you're just trying to help out in that way. You're not hitting that alarm on a lot of these moderators' heads of this is self-promotion. So that's one strategy. That works pretty well. There's another strategy that's just kind of asking questions. Let me see if I can find one that I've done. Yeah, here we go. So I started another project, another little website, ChicagoSpeakUsers.com. This is one of my more popular ones, actually. This is doing pretty well. I think I have 400 visitors per month on this guy. This is ChicagoSpeakUsers.com. A long time ago, I was really interested in hidden underground bars in Chicago because there's a big the history of prohibition in Chicago around alcohol is big and hype, and so there's a lot of underground bars and clubs, and it's all cool, and then people like it. That's a vibe that Chicago really likes, and so there's a lot of places like that. So I just went around and I just started visiting a bunch, and I did reviews for the ambiance here is really, really cool, ooh, the vibe is fun, whatever. But I made a little blog because I couldn't find a big collection of all of these places around Chicago. I was solving my own problem, kind of fun. But I wanted to go that way. So on r/Chicago Food, I was posted trying to find all the hidden eateries in town. I knew them all. I did my research for 3 weeks. I was just Googling how to find these different places. I was posting on Reddit. I was asking questions. I was trying to I have a massive list. I was very, very doubtful that this was genuinely going to get people to recommend me something I hadn't already seen. But I was asking a question to disguise my self-promotion as a genuine community, which is it's a little scheming, but people were still really interested in this. People got a lot of value out of my post. So again, I posted some stuff that I knew. I gave away a little bit of information, but I said I've been blogging about this lately. I found a few more outside of these, but I would love your help, suggestions, or ideas. Anything underground, even if it's not necessarily a speakeasy. Love to make this a resource for Chicago food secrets. Again, very genuine, very wholesome. Hey man, I'm just I would love your feed. You tell me what's going on. I don't know what's going on. You're the expert. just kind of, in a way, loosely, lightly, gently pandering to make people feel comfortable giving away information and talking and commenting and upvoting your post. This takes some practice. It took me a little while before I got decent at this. But this post got me 65 comments. And somebody, sure enough, down below, where was it? Come on, there was one of these. Please share the blog address. I can't remember, this is one of my friends out there. BlackChicagoSpeakeasy.com. Let me critiques if you have them. Just, asking for feedback. And again, from this, I got a huge boost in traffic on my sites. Just genuinely asking for help instead of self-promoting, or genuinely giving away information instead of self-promoting. And then recently just leaving the option open to answer somebody's question is shockingly more effective than just going to all the places that fit your community interest and posting about your thing, which is what I see most people do. So it's a little kitschy, it takes a little bit of practice, but this is just free marketing. Like, you're just getting in touch with your customers. And the best thing is, this isn't just running ads and getting people to visit your sites. Every single one of these comments is giving me new insight into what my consumers are interested in. So, if I posted this, whatisfordinner.card.co, if I laid that out, hey, I'm just trying to build an application to help my family decide what to eat for dinner. We've had a lot of troubles with this in the past. If you have any solutions, please hit me up. Again, genuinely asking a question. You'll find competitors, you'll find existing solutions, you'll find what other people have done to solve this problem personally. You can use those to compound and better improve this thing that you're already building. You'll also learn if people hate what you've created. Because a lot of the comments, I skipped through a lot of the comments, but a lot of these comments, if I even loosely am just like, hey, this is my thing, are just savage, brutal, hey, this sucks, I hate it, here's why. Which is great. Like, if you can handle that, if you can handle a little bit of fire there, that's just pure, unadulterated feedback on what you're building. And that is the good stuff. And so, next week, you go back, you try it again with all of that feedback incorporated. It's very, very iterative, and especially if you're posting frequently in these places, people will start to know you. People do recognize people that post and come back, and you can start building a reputation in these communities. You're not an influencer, but you have some pull in these specific places, and people that have come and answered questions before will answer questions again. No cost, hardly any time. You're just getting tons of feedback and potential users, and that's really, really awesome. So that's my loose marketing structure. Anybody have any questions on that? Roughly? Dope. Hopefully that means I've done an excellent job of explaining how it works. So cool. Neato burrito. I'm 15 minutes early, I think.
We're good.
We're good?
We're good.
Sweet. Okay, cool. Well, it's been fabulous. We're going to do lunch this It works really, really well for me to have all of my prototyping tools, or some of them, really readily available in basically all situations. Because just being able to throw a landing page really, really quickly, if I can do that on my phone in the moment, fabulous. It gives me a little bit of traction, a little bit of oomph, a little bit of start on my idea to get something rolling, and then later I can touch it up, I can fix it up, I can add functionality, whatever. There's a surprising amount that you could do just with your phone. I'm going to show you two tools today. First of all, Card. I know we did that in the last presentation, but Card is one of the very few tools that you can use on your phone. And that's another reason that I use it so much. So this little website that we just built, I can go in on my phone. It's got a slightly different UI, but I can go and I can customize different elements. Yes, okay. I'm done. I can go and I can publish that. I can make edits to my website. A lot of my friends, so I have some friends that I can start stuff with, we'll build ideas together. They built stuff previously, or they're in the early stages, or computer science kid, or they have an idea, whatever. When I'm in small teams like that, I'm usually the guy to build the website, because I have all these number tools and I do it. I do it really quick. And I'm always able to I always blow people away. Because I'm actually, I don't really like the copy of this page of the website. Can you go and fix that? And before the next minute ticks, I already have Card open, I fix the thing, I republish it, I'm yeah, it's done. And then they go and they visit it, and then sure enough, the website is fixed. This also allows for iteration. on the go. It's not just starting something in the moment, building a website. If you have an idea, you get a new comment on Reddit or you're on the train, and you say, oh, that's a really good piece of feedback. I didn't realize that this color meant this thing. This copy was like leaning people away from the product in this certain direction. Really quick, go on, make an edit, change something. That's really powerful. It's not necessary, again, like just having access to all of that right in the moment helps keeps the flow along. It helps that there's no stopping points. It's just wherever you are, let's just make a change real quick. So card. Keep that in mind. You might build a little website, a card. I know we already did that. You can do it on your phone. Yeah, I think that's kind of neat. Another tool that we used before, Jotform has a mobile app. There are a couple of other tools that have mobile apps, but I can build a form on my phone. Everything that we did in the last presentation, I could have done just on my phone while I was sitting down in a chair. It was really, really cool. It's super neat. But there's a couple of new tools that I want to discuss. And these are obviously accessible everywhere. Let's go back to Chrome. First off, I want to show you something kind of like sexy and fun. We've been talking about AI for a little bit. This is kind of neat. I'm working with this company right now. They're sponsoring a few of my TikToks, but I find them like especially impressive. They are, it's at buzzy.buzz, weird URL, but it's an artificial intelligence app generator. So if you have a prompt for an app idea, you plug it into Buzzy, and it builds more or less the full app in like 5 minutes, which is pretty wild. And they have a little bit of like limitations, like accessing the backend and stuff like that is still a little bit like rudimentary. But let's just try it real quick. Let's enter my own prompt. An app that helps families decide on what to eat by offering. So this is kind of what you were talking about before, but like, could we ask ChatGPT to build a form? I don't know if there's a form builder specifically, but let's see what the app builder does. Let's see if we can pick this up. Helps families decide what to eat by offering a list of options and narrowing their choices down through a series of questions. I'm a little behind on the AI curve, so it's not extremely obvious. I'm bad at prompting artificial intelligence. This is very whatever. Through a series of questions. Let's just go with that, see if it does anything. The lamp. Thanks. We started creating your app, checking your want to continue. Let's see. Sweet. So it usually gives a little estimated time down at the bottom, down here. Estimated time, 6 minutes, 6.5 minutes. So 48 seconds. Really quick, while we're just waiting for that, I think we can do other things. I wanted to discuss something. I forgot to kind of lay it out really nicely in the last presentation. I get all ahead of myself and I just start talking about no-code stuff. And I just start building things because like that's where I'm at. I know how to use all these tools. It's very exciting. I talk to a lot of students. It's sort of divided. A lot of students think that a lot of this no-code stuff just doesn't really like help them. Like it's not going to build a really full functioning product. It's not going to like get them all the way there. So it's just like a step of figuring it out along the way, but it's not what they actually need to deliver to customers. I have never, in my life, met an entrepreneur, met somebody in the early stages, met somebody that runs a company, a CEO, anybody that's doing anything entrepreneurial that got it on the first try. There was always steps in between. There was always people they made 100 mistakes, and then they got to the point where they actually had something that functioned that people really liked. That little landing page test, sure, I'm able to market my products decently. But like that was through a series of like trying it over and over again. Like I posted tons of stuff on Reddit, I posted tons of stuff on Facebook to figure out how stuff works like that. How do people respond on these forums? And I have a 50-site plan, which means I can build 50 websites on Fart, just on the paid plan that I'm on. I have boosted it up. Like I'm at 50 sites, and I have a bunch of other sites and a bunch of other platforms. I am not a massive entrepreneurial success. I am still, one could say, in relatively early stages. Like I'm doing well, I'm supporting myself, but I'm not like this big, incredible CEO that has a big venture fund. Like I'm still a kid, I'm still building stuff, and I'm still like experimenting to see like when I have a really, really big success. But I am making so much stuff. I am making stuff all the time, over and over. When it doesn't work the first time, you make it again, and I go the next one. A lot of iteration is necessary, and no code lets you iterate way quicker than even any programmer. I don't care if you know like Swift back and forth. I don't care if you know JavaScript like the back of your hand. I can build a website quicker than you. Like I just can. I'm not going to be able to build like the most intense. You're going to be able to build something better than I am, long term, sure. But I can get stuff out there way quicker than you, and I can get it in the hands of customers. I can see what sucks. Meanwhile, you're still building your first version prototype, and I'm on version like 5. I built 5 websites by then. That is critically important. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a speed thing. It has to be an easy-to-use thing. Like I get bogged down with a ton of stuff constantly. If something is too hard, you're going to lose motivation on it. And like this narrows the barrier, and like it drops the barrier to like nothing. It's just I can be on the train, build a landing page, post it on Reddit, all in the same day without visiting my desk. Like that's really, really useful, and it makes the whole process just a lot easier. And you get to learn a lot. Sorry, that's like a philosophical rant. Let's do something else. Here's another little tool you can use on your phone. That job form thing that we did before, where I just collected a bit of information. Yeah, actually, I think somebody went to the website and they submitted a little submission on the form that I made, which is fine. But I can make forms here, right? I can do that whole website. I can do everything we did in the last presentation on my phone, sure. But I can collect payments as well. There are other tools to do really, really great things. This is an app called Gumroad. And you can log in and you can add things and you can create payment pages on your phone. And I can show you how to do that. This is just, like I made a little bit of money. I'm not by any means like killing it. I'll go to my product list. And I'll click new product. Name of my product. Let's say I'm selling, I have a little painted hat that I have here. I like to wear it. My hair felt good today, so I put it on. I bought a little hat. This is a little art project. I just painted little stars on it. That was fun. That was cute. Let's like make a little payment page for my hat. And then post it on the website. It is, what is it? Membership, podcast, audiobook, a physical good. It's a physical good. And the price is, say $30. It took me a little while to paint. $30. Done. Next, customize. I painted cap. Baseball cap. Dark blue baseball cap. Dark blue baseball cap with painted stars. Cool heart. Cool cap. Let's see if that's good. You can set a URL at .live/coolcap. You got a custom domain, a cover, I'll computer file it, I'll take a photo. Add that. That's the cover. Super cute. It should be square. And we don't need to add that. Call to action, buy this. Summary, you'll get the hat. Details, we move in details, pricing, $30. Allow customers to pay what they want. That's kind of fun. And you can select a minimum amount. Gumroad is basically, like, by the way, Gumroad, this is a payment tool. I'm making a little payment page right now. I'm just answering a couple of questions I can get with that form. At the end, I'm going to give a link that I can just send to people or post on the website like I did with the job form that people can just submit credit card information through and buy. That goes to my Gumroad account and it goes to my bank. And it's very simple. I think they take like a 10% cut, which is higher than most payment tools, but it's free. Most other payment tools have like a subscription, like pay $10 per month or $15 per month, and then you get like you take like 2%. But this is just free. It's meant for artists. It's meant for very small, independent people that can't afford a subscription service to create a payment. Yeah, it's super, absolutely. I mean, like, from what I've seen, I've never heard of a hack of Gumroad. The payment page is built like any other group, Apple Pay, like what they built the payment page with is generally very superb. I can't say like I've read articles on it specifically, but I know a lot of people that use this very actively and never heard of security issue. But it's worth looking at. It's a good question. New product sales, maximum number of purchases, 1. Generated any business today? Okay, cool. Say we continue. Now the contents. Max will hand you the hat. Actually, I'll do a winky fish. Because it's hilarious. Publish and continue. Alright, needs to be shippable to at least one destination. Ooh. Where is that? Do I have that in my company section? Ship by destinations. Yes. United States. No shipping price. Save and continue. Publish and continue. Copy link. Very cool. Now I have a link. I'm going to go back to card. I'm going to make a quick little landing page. Let's go back to my dashboard. I'll do another quick cute little template. This one. Let's do buy my dang hat. I painted a cat. It's just like out of my life. Painted it about a year ago, and now I want to sell it. Hardly used and personally painted by me. Great. Got my hat. Check it out. Like that. It's down here. Upload an image photo library of the hat that I took. Take another picture of the hat. Take a photo. Hat. There's a photo. Is it sideways? Oh, it's sideways. Done. Simple. You can see the hat. It's fine. That's cool. I don't want. Oh my gosh, there's so much more to this template than I thought there was. This is silly. Come on. Two. No, sure contents. No, do buttons. And I'm going to take this. I'm not going to make this. Buy now. I'm sure this is thrilling to watch. Boom. I'm pasting my little Gumroad link into that button like we did before with the Jotform link. And buy my dang hat. Cool. Publish. Maxes. Hat. Stone. Hat. Cute. Maxes. Hat. No, looks weird. Max. So, hat. That. Sweet. Very cool. Let's see how it looks. Sick. Selling a hat.card.com. Give it a sec. Buy my dang hat. Click this buy now button. I paid a cat. Buy this. $30. Put in your information for shipping, and you click pay. Pay. So, dude. Oh my God, you're gonna make me do this in front of everybody? This always happens. This has happened multiple times during presentations where like a login will pop up and I can't find it, or it doesn't send my email, or it makes me do a freaking caption in front of everybody. Exclamation mark, so I'm also like, purchase was successful. We sent a receipt to maxmirror@gmail.com. I should have gotten a little notification. Oh, sure. Whatever. I think Zoom is killing my whole thing. But like, it didn't make me pay anything. It didn't make me actually submit that because it saw my email was the same email I created, so I could just do like a little tester purchase. But that is a payment page. If you go to sellingahat.card.co, people can actually buy that. If they pay $30, I will get 27 of those dollars. It'll pop right in my bank account, and I hand them the hat. Like, like it's little payment pages like that, little just selling something. Getting somebody to buy something, nobody's gonna buy my hat, but getting somebody to buy something legit, even just for $10 on a little payment page, what you gain from there isn't the $9 or whatever that you get through Gumroad. What you get from there is a first test that has proved that somebody will buy the thing that you're selling. That is enormously hard to do. It seems like really easy, just like, oh, like I can just sell something. Like the setup is simple, but the information proving somebody will buy a product of yours is one of the biggest steps. Like that's necessary for venture capital funding. That's necessary for an enormous amount of support. That's necessary to like really put anything behind anything that you're building. You don't know somebody's going to buy something. You should not put money behind your project yet. Because there's a 99% chance anything you build is going to fail. So you're going to build 100 things. And setting up little free pages like this to test lets you know which of your ideas is a hit. Because if somebody spent that money, other people will. And if other people will, now you can start to invest. Now you can start to take risks. Now you can start to lean a little more into your project. So cool. Yes, sir.
Is that website connected to the marketplaces, or is it itself acts like a marketplace where you put it where you sell?
Do you mean Gumroad specifically? Like the place that I listed on the
Yeah.
page? Yeah. So, Gumroad, yeah, a marketplace is a decent way to describe it. You can also find other products that people are using, but like, it's just, all it's doing is, it acts as like an intermediary between my bank, somebody can just Venmo me $30, right?
Yeah.
Or Cash App me $30. But it acts as the intermediary. It just sets up a little bit, like how a Shopify, you put in some information for your bank, and then that acts as the intermediary.
I wanted to see like
It's exactly the same thing, basically. It's just a very, very condensed, simplified version. So it's just a tiny little one-page payment page instead of like a whole store. And it's free to set up. That's why I tend to like it. Any questions? Any other questions on that? Bruce, I know I'm kind of bumbling. I think this is interesting. I'm gonna go over something in a second that I had a lot of fun with. Yeah.
I'm just curious about like obviously I'm hooked on my own idea, but the concept of inserting tools like locators, right? Like, or like if I want my users to build profiles, things like that. Like there's a lot of interaction pieces to this puzzle.
Mhm.
So yeah, just locators and then especially building profiles.
Absolutely. Totally, yeah. In that case, so I've loosely demonstrated our 1-2 on mobile. Oh wait, actually, is our AI thing done? Really quick. Because I will answer that question. I'm probably going to share my actual screen on my laptop for that, because there are a couple of other tools that I want to mention just like in the no-code space that we didn't use today, but that are crazy powerful and do some of the stuff that you're talking about. User authentication, actual apps. Like I'm building websites with functionality and adding that. That's pretty simple stuff because it works well for a demonstration like this. There's some unbelievable stuff that you can build. There's some different tools that we need to use. But it's just, oh dang it, it reset. You son of a gun. Okay, whatever. Buzzy's cool. Go check Buzzy out. Yeah. Let's go. Let's go and minimize this. Okay, cool. I'm going to show you a couple of other tools. So, again, we used Card.co, and we used JotForm, and we used Gumroad. Those are some of the most basic tools in the no-code sphere. Like the stuff that I built, obviously you can tell, it's pretty simple. It's just stuff on a web page. But some other tools that I highly recommend you get into would be stuff like Bubble. Actually, I think I have Bubble up over here. Bubble's one of the bigger ones in the no-code space. very good for like individual builds. They are like amazing. I love all the stuff that I've built with it. It's pretty crazy. If I'm questioning whether I should give like a quick overview of the whole code space really fast. Maybe I will. We build websites. Websites are fine. I'm going to give you a couple more tools in general. Glad apps. I'll start with that. This is kind of like Card, but for apps. Card is really simple. It's just drag and drop. It was, you have a lot of templates you can use. You just put stuff in places and then it looks good. Glide is like that. It's very simple, very easy to use. It has a lot of advanced functionality, but for free, on the free plan, I can build 3 free little apps. And those apps, I can like connect to artificial intelligence directly. I can add like user authentication. So before you're able to get into the app at all, you just sign up with an email. It's into a confirmation code to confirm that your email is correct. And then in there, it lists. Let me open it up. Let me open this bad boy up and show you what I'm looking at. It's really, really cool. This is like what I use for prototyping mobile app ideas. So it asks mobile or large screen desktop. I'm just calling Max's app. I'll keep going. You can select a database backend. It could be Google Sheets. It could be Excel. It could be Airtable. If you're going to use Airtable, Airtable's like a super Google Sheets. It's a cool database tool. But I'm just going to use their internal database. Doesn't really matter. And now, I have a cute little thing. It loads app interface. And I can go and I have this nice little collection of things. I have a backend database that I can go and I can futz with. But let's say I want to show these in grid formats, or in checklist formats, or in calendar formats. Now I have a calendar where all my little elements are. I can have it in a Kanban board. So now I create a little workspace tool and a to-do list. If I don't like this structure, I can go and I can delete here and I can add a whole bunch of different elements. Let's say I want to add a text field. And this text field is going to say, this is the start of an awesome app. Smart. Let's say I want to add in map. I'll click on map, and now we have a map, and that map is connected to all my backend database elements. So anytime I change something on the backend database, it displays here on the map. Let's say I want people to add things to that map. So I go to options, and I add, where is it? Hold on. I always miss this. Should I get control? And just do the source things, options. Show notification. No, I want to add a row. So now when they click the button go, it says add. Come on, what are you doing? Add map. Target. Add map target. Have a little map icon. Boom. Add map target. Now, when you do that, it will add a row, and it'll add an element, and you can have it instead open like a form where you fill in information first. Like in like 2 seconds, I have created a little app, the main homepage, not much else, but it has a functioning map where you can go and you can zoom in, you can click on these different little elements, and it'll show the database elements, and you can create a separate page for the database element. It's hard to describe and explain these things because there's a lot of complexity to it, but you can build really simple apps, and I can just publish it to my phone. I can do it all for free, kind of like I did with Card, but really, really fast. Like, chances are you have an app idea, you can build it. Without code, for free. If you scan this QR code, it just downloads to your phone. Like, it's just up there. It's not on the App Store. The App Store is a little bit difficult. Like, you have to go through a whole approval process and pay a bunch of money to the App Stores. Like, that's a little bit difficult. But like, for a rough mobile app, if you scan this QR code on Safari, if you have an iPhone, or on, if you have Android, just whatever, it'll just download to your phone as a web app that functions pretty similarly to a mobile app. And now I have a prototype. My users have something in their hands that they can use. There was a really funny TikTok on somebody making a joke about how somebody had created an app to track where they found army streets in San Francisco. It was a whole bit. People made a bunch of videos about it, and everybody thought it was hilarious. I don't know if you've seen this. Maybe you haven't seen it. Yeah. Very funny. I was able to create a version of that, because I was like, the video got like 3 million views, and I was like, ooh, let me show people how to build their own version of that. A little like track things around your city. It's not going to be poop tracking, but it can be just tracking things around your city. Here are the different locations where I've found vegetarian eateries, or here are the locations that I've found that have a really nice gluten-free option, or here are the locations of like public art that you can't find in Google Maps. This was essentially my solution. I made a little tutorial, use Glide, pop a map element in there, and then connect it to your backend database. Let users click a button to add their own map, like bits, and then suddenly you have a private app where users can collaborate and can crowdsource different locations wherever you want around the world. And you can do it for free. Like, that's pretty cool. So Glide's cool. That's the one thing that I'm able to demonstrate pretty easily because Glide is relatively easy to use. There's a bunch of others I want to show you. Glide is dope, but it's limited in structure. Like you saw, I have to add elements that go one below the next, and it's in a specific format. You can customize the color, but that's basically it. Oh, keep going. So that's okay. We're doing something else now. Okay. Cool. Glide is limited. It's like the card of app builders. Very structured, very simple, very basic. Adalo is kind of like the next step up. If you need really nice design flexibility, you can drag and drop and put elements anywhere you want. And I like that as a nice intermediary because it's pretty easy to use, but you have a little more flexibility. That goes all the way up to some really crazy, powerful things like Flutterflow.io. This is specifically built for mobile apps, especially. You can do web apps with it as well. It's very complex. The stuff that you can do with this is insane. It's not limited in scope or structure at all. You can upload directly to the App Store and publish updates immediately just by pressing a button. You can send push notifications, schedule them whenever you want, like add in APIs. They even have an AI generator to build your own components. Flutterflow is crazy. And you have stuff like Bubble. You're building a web app, like Airbnb.com, for example. Airbnb.com, people consider it a website, but there's logins, there's users. It looks different to you than it does to everybody else, and so that's actually a web app. But building some version of like a marketplace, Airbnb.com, is like crazy easy on some of these no-code tools. And Bubble is probably what I would recommend for that. You can actually, they have templates that you can use. So go through here, I can go say, I'm not creating my things folders. Here we go. All these no-code things, like you saw me use a little basic template on card, right? Think that, but for basically every like startup idea that's out there, loose startup idea, like a platform, or a map, or a marketplace, or two-sided authentication for payment stuff. Loose structures, you're going to be able to find really quickly. So let's say I wanted to build Airbnb. Let's see if I have time for that. Travel marketplace like Airbnb for free. I can just download this. It's responsive and it also works on mobile. I just have to customize the backend database and put it up on the URL, and suddenly I have an Airbnb account. That's ridiculous. So Bubble is like the top of the line for web apps. Flutterflow is like the top of the line for mobile apps. And then you guys have an enterprise level no-code tool at your disposal. Graphite, which like they've done work with like the US government. Like they scale all the way to the tippy top. Like you have direct access to the people that built this thing, which is insane. So this is, I would also consider top of the line on the enterprise side. These are more for like individual people, kind of futz around and build little companies. This is like build something larger. But like, just the, I always get a little overwhelmed. Just Googling no code, how to build Honey Chrome extension. Let's see if we can find something like that. We were talking about it before, about how it would be a little bit too difficult for me right now to build something like a coupon code finder or search other products when you're scrolling through Amazon, that little Chrome extension. Right? Those are a little bit too tough for me. I can't build that in 45 minutes. It's a little bit more complex. But I Googled this and built a discount Chrome extension like Honey without code. It's 12 minutes long. Like I could do that. I could go sit at home and probably in half an hour, like do everything that they suggest. Now I have my own version, right? Just Googling no code, how to build blank clone, Airbnb clone, Honey clone. Like when people ask me stuff on social media, like, how do I do this, how do I do that? That's 90% of what I do, man. Like, I just Google, like, that little string in Google gets you so far. And the YouTube tutorials that people make, some of them are probably going to be mine. I've done some tutorials in this space, and I'm trying to do more. The tutorials that people make on this stuff are pretty dang easy to follow. They're really easy to find. And look, like, it's using Bubble and Google Chrome is what I see in a little highlight. So they're using Bubble. This little dang tool right here. Cool. I didn't know you could explore it as Chrome extensions. Now I do. Google stuff. And Google use the term no code. You will find way more than you think. And your product idea is, I guarantee, like way, way closer than you imagine. And adding artificial intelligence, we're talking a lot about AI here. I do want to mention briefly. Adding AI is like stupid easy. To any of these app builders, all these app builders that I've mentioned, using card, like anything like this, adding artificial intelligence to that is not hard. Because there are tools like Zapier. Zapier's an automation builder. Basically, let me create a Zap. Let's say I built an app on Bubble. Bubble doesn't have any native AI components. I can't just like drag and drop in like AI piece. But using Zapier, I can essentially interface with APIs, which is like an application programming interface. I can interface with the OpenAI API, I can interface with a whole bunch of different tools to basically add functionality. So trigger my automation is Bubble. Bubble. So in Bubble, when a workflow trigger event happens, I want an action to happen, and I want it to go to OpenAI. And we're going to, let's say, we'll generate an image. Whatever. We want to create our own image generation tool, or we want to have a tool that auto-generates images for an added bit of functionality. Great. Now I'm going to add a third step. I'm going to go back to Bubble. It's going to generate that image. Now I'm going to create a new thing in the Bubble database of my app. That's it. Like, I answer a few questions on each of these little individual steps, and then automatically, without me touching anything, when someone uses my app in the right way, when I set it up the way that I set it up in Bubble, it'll prompt Zapier. It'll say, hey, go check out OpenAI. OpenAI will generate an image based on information that was pulled in through Bubble. It'll then put that information back into Bubble in the third step. And now, I have an image generator using Dolly in my Bubble app. And you can do this with basically every no-code tool that I mentioned. Like Glide, Dolly, those are all interfaced with it. You can add this to Google Sheets, you can add this to whatever you want. But adding artificial intelligence in the no-code sphere has recently gotten really easy, because obviously everybody was like, I want to go on AI apps, so like, how can we do that? So every single company was like, let's get this going. So Zapier is something absolutely to look out for if you're looking to add in functionality. I'm throwing a lot of information at you. This is kind of what I do when I get a little out of my depth, or I finish up something early. I just start talking about things that excite me. But are there any questions? Anything that you maybe want to build and I can recommend a tool set for you? No pressure.
Anything for website?
Website building. So Carter's really good, very, very simple though. But if you really want to build serious websites, I recommend webflow.com. Webflow is beautiful. If you spend like 2 weeks, actually, let me open it. It'll log me into my little dashboard. Webflow. If you spend 2 weeks, an hour per day, futzing around with Webflow, they have this all the way at the bottom. Scroll all the way at the bottom. You can see University. University.webflow.com. It's like the best documented series of tutorials I've ever seen in my entire life. They're like fun to watch, which is insane. The guy that hosts them is like just like very charismatic. I love him. I follow him on Twitter. It's great. They have documented a beautiful series of courses, videos, all free, on how to use their tool. Because there is a bit of learning curve to a lot of these tools. And I genuinely recommend that you go and Google stuff like how to build a Bubble blank. Because not only are you going to get like exactly what to do, you're not going to be able to pick up these tools instantly. Like Card, Jotform, Gumroad, they walk you through the process. I've been using very simple tools so far. But Webflow, or Bubble, or Adala, those require a bit of a learning curve. It's not going to be learning HTML, CSS, JavaScript, but it's going to be a little while. But if you spend 2 weeks completely for free, futzing around on university.webflow.com, watching the tutorials, and on the free plan of Webflow, after those 2 weeks, you are an intermediate level Chicago Speakeasy. It's like this, beautystandards.org, because of Webflow. This is a little dim in terms of design. Like, it's not super cute, but I figured out how to use their tool to build like a little interactive map. I built a blog, Chicago Speakeasies, that just documents little bars around town. This gets 400 users like a month visiting this website, all for SEO, because it ranks really well on Google. Webflow is beautiful at that. So if you need to rank on Google, Webflow is where you should go. But I spent maybe a week learning Webflow, and now I can build like all this sort of stuff. It's really, really crazy. So Webflow is what I recommend for websites. Yeah. One other thing I want to say. People like to jump to Bubble and Flutterflow and Webflow. If you just need a landing page, like just use Cart. If you just want to test a little app idea, like just use Glide. Start with the most basic possible tool, and until you run into a wall, like I can't build what I want to build on this little tool, and you start with the next tool. And that might sound like it takes a lot of time, but chances are you're going to be able to get 95% of the way there with Cart or with the most basic little Glide tool. It's just like the most important thing is just starting, man. Like yes, building a really full, beautiful product is important. You can get there. What you need to do now, I guarantee you, is just make a tiny little thing and you show it to people, and then put on LinkedIn, CEO of blah. Like just be really serious about it. Like get your head in it. Like even if, all my friends now know me for this one specific project that I made like 4 months ago, 5 months ago. Like for some reason, this is the one that's stuck in their head. Not the most handsome man in Chicago, not like anything else that I've made. It's just this thing called the Vibe Association Project, and it's just a little quiz where it's like, when you think of the number 2, what color is it in your mind? And some people are like, oh, it's definitely blue. And some people are like, no, it's red. Like people for some reason get really passionate about this. I was talking to my friends about this, and they thought it was interesting. So I made a little quiz, I popped it on a card website. More or less, I just did what we did in this workshop, like one night. And I spent like a few extra hours designing the frame. And everybody I know loves this. Anytime they come up with an idea, like, oh, that's kind of vibe association, isn't it? Like, it's a reference now that people that I know like actively call back to. It's just about doing little dumb things. Like at some point, I probably will put on my LinkedIn just for fun, like founder of the Vibe Association Project. Like that sounds really, like it sounds great. Like people are gonna take. I did build a thing. It's out there. There are users. Like there's back in the day that showed up. Like it's having something that exists rather than just idea. No matter what age you are, no matter what background you come from, like it automatically 10x's how seriously people take you. And so I tend to lean really, really hard into just make a little landing page, just make a little form, just make a little app, just make some tiny little thing. Because that thing that you can show people makes everybody take you so much more seriously, and you get legit feedback instead of just, I like that idea. That would be really cool. Which is very useful, right? Anyway, sorry. Another like soliloquy on my personal perception of the entrepreneurship space. But cool. I'm flat out of town. I'm chilling. What are the questions you got? No, that's what we're doing. Yeah. Great question. For websites, so her question was like, I said before, like my Chicago Speakeasies thing has like 400 visitors per month. And we will tell that because of Google Analytics. Because I think it is. I'm not logging into Google Analytics right now. If it's not 100, it's going to be embarrassing. It's just a little code. You can pop it on a card, pop it on every single little card website I built. It's a free tool. It's just hosted by Google. It just tracks how many people go to your website, what pages they visit, and where they came from. And so for my beauty standards website, this one over here, I was able to tell that all the traffic came from Reddit, because on Google Analytics it said all from Reddit. This is from something different. This is not my Chicago Speakeasy. This is a promise. Come on, do it. Oh, that's nice. That's way more than I thought. It's beautiful. It's just a little code that I plug into, you can just Google it, like how to put Google Analytics to Webflow, and there's a little tutorial that pops up. But it tracks everything. It tracks every single little page that they're on, where they're coming from, what they Google. Google Search Console is also good. Google search console. That basically tracks how people are finding like what keywords you're ranking for, stuff like that. I believe my speakeasies is also on this. Yes, speakeasies. This has gotten 1,200 total reviews. I think it's in the past 3 months. But it tells me performance. Yeah, it's the last 3 months. It tells me where people are finding it, what they're Googling. They're Googling Goosebox, they're Googling Love Street Chicago, Blind Park. These are how people are finding me on Google. And I also know what pages they're visiting via Google Analytics. But all those are Google tools, easy to pop on your websites. But that's a really good idea. I forgot to mention that before. Even with a little landing page like art, you want to know how many people are doing it. So I would go here, boom, and then I pop in my Google Analytics ID right here. I think this is logged to be counted. So it is. Yes, this is on the page plan. I think it takes a while. Which is odd. So you do need to be on the pay plan for that. I think the lowest pay plan is like $19 a month for like 10 bucks. Anyway, sorry, long answer. Cool, neat. Any other questions before we skedaddle? I'll be around again. Like, I want to help everybody build their own visual thing. So if you see me later, want some personal advice or want some specific tools, hit me up. But thanks for letting me clap. This is very hands-off. This is the first time I've like a full workshop. But I hope this is still very valuable. Like mixed in with some other stuff in my other workshops. Thanks for listening.